Now, I've never been to Philadelphia, but I'd really love to go to try their very famous Philly cheesesteak. Now, the name says it all. It's steak that's been char-grilled with some onions and some capsicum, some cheese on a warm, toasty bread roll. I know, it sounds amazing. So I'm going to show you my interpretation. I've got one large onion here that I'm just finely slicing, and this is going to go into a bowl along with our capsicum. Now, I'm using 2 colours of capsicum because I like the bright colours of this, and I'm just going to use half of this because I'm just going to do enough for me today. So I'll just remove any of that white membrane there and just tap out the seeds. And now I'm just going to finely slice the capsicum here. You need this capsicum to cook at the same time as the onion, so they're roughly the same size. Now, I'm going to keep it really, really classic. From my research, less is more. So just having these components as the vegetables is what we're looking for, because it's all about the steak, the cheese, and the yummy mayonnaise to go with it. Now, I'm going to mix this with some olive oil. You just want enough to coat this. And I'm going to add some oregano. Now, you can use some dried oregano. You could also use some fresh parsley. I'm using fresh oregano here, and just 2 sprigs is enough. Now, get your hands in there and squeeze all those onions together and the capsicum. Now, I've got my grill pan heating here, and it is scorching hot. And I know my pan is scorching hot because that thermo spot is solid red, so it's ready to go. I also oil my ingredients as opposed to oiling the pan because I don't want the ingredients to be swimming in the oil. I want this to be really charred and caramelized, and that'll happen if you've just got a little bit of oil on there. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more. And don't overcrowd the pan for this, and open the windows because when you're char grilling, it's going to get a little smoky in here. Now, these onions are cooked. You can see how caramelized they are, so they can come out of my grill pan now. And I'm just going to turn off the heat for now, but I will turn it on in a moment to char grill our meat. Let's get started on the meat. I've got a beautiful sirloin here, and I've wrapped it in a bit of cling film and placed it in the freezer. Now, I've done that because I want it to be quite firm, because I do want to cut this as thin as possible. When it's firm, it's much easier to handle. Now, I've taken most of the fat off it too, so you can see how thin I'm trying to get it. So it takes pretty much moments in the pan to get some colour and cook. So once you've sliced a good amount off, and if there's a little bit of fat on there, that's fine. Fat's flavour. And now I'm also going to season this with some salt, and I'll just do it straight on the board here, along with some olive oil and a touch of pepper. And now that's ready to go. I've sliced this now because I do want it to come back to room temperature so it does cook nice and evenly. Now for a mayonnaise, just some nice whole egg mayonnaise here, along with some chili sauce. I'm using chipotle and adobe sauce, which I've just chopped because it's got that nice smokiness. And now I'll also add some lime juice. Just cut that in half. A nice squeeze of fresh lime juice in there, and that'll also just thin out the mayonnaise. Perfect. Sauce is done. We've got the veggies done. Meat's going to take moments to cook, so let's get onto the roll. Now, I've got a large baguette here. I'm just going to cut just the end off there, and I want a nice, generous roll. And I'm going to cut straight down the centre so I can fit as much meat, cheese and mayonnaise as possible. So just with a serrated knife, don't go all the way through, go halfway, open it up a little bit. And what I like to do is just take out some of that fluffy white dough so there's more room for our filling. Now let's add some cheese. I'm adding some provolone cheese, but you could add some cheddar to this, even some mozzarella. You can imagine the mozzarella getting really gooey and stringy once it's cooked. I'll add 3 to 4 slices, and what I want to do is just melt that cheese and warm up the roll. You don't need the roll to be super toasty, just nice and warm. So this is going to take moments in the oven. exactly what I'm talking about. Grilled, gooey. I can smell the pungent cheese. It's so yummy. My grill pan is still scorching hot, so in with the thin slices of meat, and can you hear that sizzle? That's what you want when you're cooking very thin pieces of this meat, because ideally I'd like it not to cook all the way through. So we just want some colour on the outside. So don't overlap the meat, and with your tongs, start turning it, and you can see it cooks straight away. Once you turn it, it's pretty much ready to come out of the pan. And now that that's cooked, I'm just going to reheat the onions and the capsicum. That can go straight in with our meat, and we'll just give it a really quick toss, and then out it goes into a bowl. Done. Very easy. Now let's start building this masterpiece. Just a small amount of the mayonnaise on that gooey cheese. Spread it out, and you want a big amount of all of those. Look at those colours, isn't that gorgeous? And I love my sauce, so I'm going to add some more, drizzle it on top, squish it all together. And who needs to go to Philadelphia to make this delicious, scrumptious baguette? You know what, I better taste test it for you, just in case it's not so good. Oh yeah, now that's good.